Hey everyone, and welcome. We're diving into the world of social selling today and using Tim Hughes' book, Social Selling, as our guide. We're going to unpack how sales has been totally shaken up in our crazy connected world.
It's wild how much things have changed. Like remember when salespeople held all the cards?
Right.
They used to give out info through brochures and cold calls,
Absolutely.
trying to control everything. But today,
Forget about it. Buyers have all the info at their fingertips.
they
It's
kind of,
like night and day. Imagine buying a car the old way. Now you've got YouTube reviews, online forums, you name it.
oh yeah,
People like Supercar Blondie have changed the game completely. You hear the good, the bad, and the ugly straight from people just like you.
that's it. People buy from people.
For sure.
That's where social selling comes in. It's not about blasting out sales pitches everywhere. It's about building a genuine community
Yeah.
around your expertise, around what you know, becoming someone people trust.
Building a community, not just like racking up followers.
Yes.
Like think about a networking event. You wouldn't just run around shoving business cards in everyone's faces, right?
Yeah.
It's all about building real connections.
You got it. And HubSpot found that email response rates have tanked, like
Yeah.
way down to 2.1%.
Wow.
Think about that. 98% of emails ignored. And this is HubSpot, the email marketing gurus, saying this. It's clear the old ways aren't working.
Ouch. So if cold calls and mass emails are out, what's the alternative? How does this whole social selling thing really work?
Well, it's about understanding how social networks work, right?
Okay.
It's this whole web of following and followers.
Gotcha.
You've got people you follow, people following you, and then all those connections branch out, creating these massive, massive networks of influence.
So it's not just about how many followers you have, it's about who they are and who they're connected to, right? How far your influence spreads online.
Exactly. Think of it like signals, right?
Right.
Imagine you're at that networking event. You wouldn't just hang back hoping someone notices you, would you?
No way.
No, you chat, share ideas, connect with people.
Yeah.
Those are your signals.
So in the digital world, our signals are liking posts, sharing content, leaving thoughtful comments. It's about getting noticed by the right people.
Yes. And adding value. It's called backward propagation. Basically, your actions signal back to the person you're engaging with.
I see.
Makes them more likely to check out your profile and maybe even follow you. But it gets even more interesting with forward propagation.
Okay, you mentioned that earlier. What's forward propagation all about?
This is where it gets really powerful. When you share insightful content, something valuable, that value gets passed along.
Right.
To your followers, then to their followers, and so on. It's a ripple effect.
Wow.
Amplifies your reach like crazy.
So we're not just talking to our immediate circle when we share valuable stuff. We're tapping into this huge web of potential connections.
Exactly. It's the network effect in action.
Yeah.
Think about the average LinkedIn user with their 930 connections.
That's a lot.
If they engage with your content, that's potentially 930 more people seeing it, each with their own networks. The reach is mind-blowing compared to traditional marketing.
This is making a lot of sense now. It's not about being the loudest voice in the room anymore. It's
Right.
about being strategic, building those genuine connections and letting that ripple effect, like you said, do its thing.
Yeah.
But how do we actually turn all those likes and shares into sales?
Well, that's the thing. Social selling isn't just a new sales tactic. It's a whole new mindset. It's about putting a digital-first lens on how we do business.
Okay.
And a big part of that is building a strong, authentic, personal brand.
Okay, so before we get into the nuts and bolts, let's talk about building that digital identity. What makes someone stand out online?
It really comes down to being yourself. People can spot a fake a mile away, especially online.
Right.
Your digital brand has to be a genuine reflection of you,
Yeah.
your expertise, the value you bring.
So ditch the corporate jargon and let our personalities shine through.
Exactly.
Be more human, less sales robot.
People connect with people, not with perfectly polished corporate profiles. Don't be afraid to let those passions show your interests. It's about building trust and rapport just like you would in person.
You know, it's funny you should say that. I was reading about the CEO who had this really offbeat headline on his LinkedIn profile.
Right?
It sparked so many conversations just because it made people curious,
It's a great example of thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
You want to be memorable,
Totally.
stand out, give
Right.
people a reason to connect. But it's not just the headline.
Right.
It's the whole picture. What content are you sharing? What conversations are you a part of? What's the overall impression?
It's like our digital presence is a direct reflection of our professional selves.
Exactly. And that leads to another key element, building a diverse network.
Okay.
Back to that networking event example. You wouldn't just talk to people in your industry, right?
Not a chance. The best conversations always seem to come from the people you least expect, different backgrounds, experiences.
Exactly. Your digital network should be just as diverse. Connect with people from different industries, roles, backgrounds.
It widens the scope.
It widens the scope, exactly.
Yeah.
Opens up so many more opportunities for those serendipitous connections.
Like a digital Rolodex, but way more dynamic.
Right. But here's where understanding how these networks work comes in. It's not just about blasting out connection requests.
Right.
It's about engaging,
Yeah.
listening to what's happening, and recognizing those signals that we talked about.
Being a good listener online, just like offline.
Absolutely. This is where those traditional sales skills, active listening, building rapport, they become even more important.
Because we have so much information at our fingertips.
Exactly. Think about it. Social media gives you profiles, articles, shared content. It's a glimpse into someone's world, their interests, their challenges, their priorities.
It's like having pre-meeting prep done for you constantly.
Exactly. And that's where tools like social listening software come in.
Oh, yeah.
You can set up alerts for certain keywords,
Right.
track what your competitors are doing,
I see.
spot potential leads who are talking about things you can help with. It's being proactive, not just reacting.
So instead of waiting for the phone to ring, we're out there listening, learning, engaging with potential customers before they even know they need us.
That's the name of the game.
Yeah.
And it plays into another key principle from traditional sales that's super relevant online continuous learning.
Love it.
Every day is a school day. And in this fast-paced digital world, that's never been truer.
It's true because the landscape is constantly shifting. You've got to stay on top of things.
Exactly. And social media is a goldmine for that.
It is.
Follow industry experts, thought leaders, even your competitors. Join groups, communities.
Great.
Focused on what you know. The learning opportunities are endless.
It's like having a personalized 204/7 professional development platform.
Right at your fingertips.
And the best part is it's not just about absorbing information. It's about being part of the conversation.
That's huge. Social selling is about sharing your insights, asking questions, having discussions, adding to that collective knowledge.
You become a resource,
Exactly.
a go-to person.
So it's not just about what you're learning. It's about giving back, moving the conversation forward, adding value, not just taking it in.
Which brings us to a pretty big one.
Yeah.
Content creation. Content is king, right?
It really is.
Especially in the world of social selling. So what kind of content really works? What resonates with people, would you say?
The best content. It's always high quality, insightful, genuinely valuable.
For sure.
Put yourself in your audience's shoes. What do they care about? What are they struggling with?
What keeps them up at night?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So instead of pushing product brochures, we're giving them real insights, helpful tips, advice that positions us as the expert.
We're problem solvers.
Exactly. And content comes in many forms, right?
It does.
It's blog posts, videos, infographics,
Yeah.
even just quick social media updates. Experiment, find what works for you and your audience, and just keep delivering that value consistently.
It's almost like we become our own little media companies,
I love that.
right? Creating content that draws people in.
And just like a media company, you need a content strategy.
You do.
What are you going to focus on? What format's your content going to take? How often you're publishing? You got to be strategic about it.
Right. And how do we make sure the right people are seeing it? It's not enough to just create it. We got to get it out there.
That's where understanding those different social media platforms is key.
Each one has its own strengths.
Strengths, absolutely.
So LinkedIn for professional networking, Twitter for those real-time conversations, Instagram for visuals, storytelling. It's about choosing the right platform for the message.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of tools to help you out.
Tools are great.
Scheduling tools to keep you organized, content curation platforms to help you share a mix of stuff. Even CRM systems can maximize your impact.
Okay, so we've got the personal brand, the network, the content. How do we bring it all together and make it a win for our entire company?
Okay.
How does social selling fit into the bigger picture?
This is where we go beyond just individual efforts and look at social selling maturity.
Social selling maturity.
Organizations go through stages, from denial all the way to being fully integrated.
Okay.
And each stage needs a different approach.
So it's not just about salespeople using these tactics on their own. It's about the whole organization being on board with this digital-first mindset, right?
Exactly. And that takes buy-in from the top.
Leadership.
Leaders need to get it. They need to create a culture where employees feel empowered to use social media to build relationships and drive business.
So it's a top-down, bottom-up approach.
Yes.
Leaders set the vision, empower their teams, and everybody's working together. It becomes part of the company culture.
That's how you create a more connected, customer-centric organization. This is bigger than just a sales tactic. It's a shift in how we do business in the digital age.
It's a huge shift. This has been incredibly insightful. We've gone from the changing information landscape to the ins and outs of social networks, the importance of building that digital brand, and how social selling can really give companies an edge.
And I think what's key is social selling isn't just some passing trend. It's a fundamental change in how we connect and do business in our digital world.
Totally. So speaking of the future, what does it hold for social selling? What should businesses be thinking about as they navigate this space?
One of the biggest things is data privacy
Right.
and ethical considerations. People are more aware of how their data is being used.
Definitely.
Businesses need to be transparent, responsible in how they use it.
So it's not just about getting in front of people, it's about doing it the right way, building that trust through ethical engagement.
Exactly. And then there's AI and automation. Social selling tools are becoming so sophisticated,
They really are.
but we can't let them replace the human element.
We need to find the balance, right?
Yes.
Between technology and that human connection.
Finding that sweet spot is going to be critical. And of course, social media itself isn't standing still, right? Platforms change, new technologies pop up. What works today might not work tomorrow.
So you got to be ready to adapt.
Exactly. You got to stay agile, you got to stay informed, be willing to experiment.
It's about constantly learning, testing, refining our approach.
Absolutely. And as more businesses adopt social selling, it's going to be more important than ever to stand out.
You've got to differentiate yourself.
Exactly. It's not enough to just be on social media. You have to be engaging. You have to be insightful. You have to bring something valuable to the table.
Cut through the noise.
Exactly. At the end of the day, remember this, social selling, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Long game, not a quick fix.
It's about nurturing those relationships, not just chasing the next deal.
This deep dive has been amazing. We've gone beyond just the how-to of social selling. We've really uncovered its power, not just as a sales tactic, but as a way to do business that's more human, more connected, and ultimately more fulfilling.
I agree. It's been great. And as you go on your social selling journey, just remember, it's not about mastering this checklist of techniques.
Yeah.
It's about embracing this new mindset, one that values relationships, authenticity, genuine connection.
It makes you wonder if traditional marketing is becoming less effective and human connection is more important than ever. What does that mean for the future of business?
It's the big question,
It
right?
really is.
If we're moving to a place where the old ways don't work and it's all about genuine connection, businesses need to adapt, become more social, more customer-centric.
It's like we're shifting from just transactions to relationships. It's not about pushing products. It's about those long-term connections built on trust and authenticity.
And that's where community is key. Businesses need to think beyond just individual sales and create communities around what they do, their brand.
I see what you're saying.
These communities become hubs for people to connect, share, and turn into, like passionate fans who don't just buy your product but tell everyone about it.
They become advocates.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're not just customers anymore. It blurs the lines between sales, marketing, customer service. Everyone is responsible for building these relationships, the sense of community.
It's a company-wide thing, not just one department.
Right, it's a cultural shift, moving away from these rigid structures to something more collaborative, something where the customer is at the center.
We're talking about a fundamental change in how businesses work, from transactional to relational, from selling to building these communities.
That's what it's all about. And while it might seem like a lot, it's exciting too. Imagine a world where companies aren't faceless corporations, but vibrant communities. They empower their people. They make a real difference.
Now, that's a future worth working towards. This deep dive has been amazing. We've gone beyond just the tactics of social selling and uncovered its true potential. It's not just about sales. It's a new way to do business that's more human, more connected.
It's been fantastic exploring these ideas. And as you go on your social selling journey, remember, it's not about checking boxes. It's about embracing a new way of thinking, one that prioritizes relationships, genuine connection above all else.
And as you build your network, share what you know. Don't forget to stay curious, keep learning. There's so many incredible possibilities out there. This is just the beginning.